Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision on a daily basis. And welcome back from a long weekend, which, if you're here in Central Texas, has probably been a really long weekend of dealing with snow and things we don't normally have to deal with around here. But so far, so good. Have power this morning to go ahead and give the briefing. If for some reason I all of a sudden just drop off air, that means we lost power, so no sweat. We'll catch you back tomorrow morning. But so far, so good. And I think we're through the worst of it. If you're not from these parts, yeah, it's weird. It's why many of us moved to Texas, to get away from that stuff that we had seen before. But let's focus on investing. We have a short week this week. We had yesterday off, and what we want to talk about this week is volatility. If you track volatility, which again VIX is the VIX, which is what we talk about on a daily basis, the mechanism for the way to invest in that is the VXX. So if you have a side screen, you can pull up the VXX. We're going to take a look at that today. But that measures overall market volatility. If you look at last year, it was basically into February, volatility got down to around 10 or 11 on the VXX. We're already dropping below 16 now, and kind of blue skies. People are starting to talk equity bubbles. John, thank you for your question. I'll get to that here in a little bit. But we're going to talk about volatility, and is now the time to shift some money towards volatility. How low can it go, and how fast will it go higher? So that's what we're talking about today. Also had a couple of earnings out this morning. Palantir, yikes. Her stock's selling off kind of hard after what I would call pretty good numbers. Beat as far as earnings, so we'll watch that as well. If you catch us on replay, make sure you hit subscribe and notification bell. Also, if you want to join us live, it's $25 a month, which you don't see. Off to the side is a chat window and a quick Q&A window where folks can ask questions. This morning's question so far is about Bitcoin and a storage of value, which I'll talk about here in a minute. With that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back. We are on OTOT Morning Brief sheet this morning. You have in front of you there. Make sure you have your chat window set up and your Q&A window set up correctly. All right, standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear in today's presentation. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right, our mission objectives for today, February 16th, 2021, grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today, we're talking about a hedge, which by definition is generally a protect your money move. And let me get this typed in there. My changes did not save. So volatility as a hedge is the long term. And then the question of the day is, what is a swing trade? So sorry about that. Trade. And then the long-term investments we're going to take a look at are VXX. There, got that situated for everybody. Okay. So volatility is a hedge. So when you think of, if you had a smaller account, or you could also play the VXX to make a lot of money, to grow your money too. If you had a small account and you wanted to take it all out of the market and put it all into volatility right now, you could do that. Again, that's more trading than investing. But I like to say we'll take what the market gives us. And right now, when I look back as a professional money manager and I'm trying to find things to buy, and there's nothing that I really want to buy. I'm waiting for the Coinbase IPO. I'm waiting for direct listing, more technically. I'm waiting for Roblox. But really, as far as things out there, There's nothing that I want. I'm so excited that the there's nothing I'm really excited to buy. So when I'm not excited to buy anything, guess what? That has been an indication of in the past. Yeah, market's pretty toppy, means we're due for a correction. I'm not making some epic call. It's going to be tomorrow, but I do think we're due for for the market to come in some. So with that, what I'm looking to do for my own portfolio, as well as some larger portfolios out there, is use volatility as a hedge. So again, when things are going great and the market's screaming higher, the VXX tends to drop lower and lower, less volatility. So that's what we're going to take a look at. Question of the day is not as Apex posed in the chat there, but what is a swing trade? So again, there's day trading, there's long-term investing, and there's stuff in between. Obviously, that's a swing trade, so we'll get into the definition of that here in a little bit. Our flow today will be long, short, open, short, long. We'll do a market review, headline review. We'll look at the VXX chart and see where it's been going into last March, and then for the big sell-off, which is almost a year ago now, and see how the VXX reacted going into that. You guys are awesome this morning. We'll get into short-term execution. I have a few longs in there. I don't really like any of the longs. I really like this GILT short though. It's a satellite company. It whiffed earnings this morning. It's selling off. It's down around 9%, and I think it's got further room to go to the downside. All right, execute the market open. We'll get to your questions. Contingencies and academic resources are standard. All right, let's take that question first from John. Excuse me, while we take a look at where the market's been. So, okay, here's the 9-month of the S&P 500. Yeah, basically straight up with a few hiccups in between. Now, the question that John posted here, let me scroll back up, is storage of value for Bitcoin. How would Bitcoin fare if the equity bubble bursts? Okay. So if money flows out, so if the equity bubble bursts, which means, okay, people start selling their equities. If people start selling their equities aggressively, something has to happen with that money. That money can go to cash and it can stay in cash. As a professional money manager, cash, I'm not going to leave money in cash. I mean, I'm just literally not. I'm going to flow it into something else. So I'm going to make you a little bit of money while you wait. That's more of a retail investor thing. If you're, doing this on your own, a lot of people will go to cash and let it sit there, but you aren't making anything. So generally it doesn't stay there. So it goes somewhere. It can go into bonds. If the equity bubble bursts, you have money flows out. It could go to cash. Professionally, that's generally not the case. It can go to bonds. Professionally, that is the case. However, the interest rates are like stupid low right now, right? Stupid, that was intentional. Stupid low right now. And then you have other things that it could flow into, gold or Bitcoin. And I think gold and Bitcoin are the same in the fact that they both stand to benefit when the market sells off. And I think that Bitcoin is a big winner over gold as far as the newness / sexiness of it as a store of value. Gold is really kind of that's what Grandpappy did, right? Is buy some gold and put it in his safe and whatever. So really not exactly what people are into these days. And plus you have to store it. So if you have 10,000 in gold in your house, well, you got to, it's not much, right? It's just a little bit. But anyhow, if you have a significant amount, you do have to store it, where it's a little different with Bitcoin stored electronically. So I do think that Bitcoin will continue to fare well, excuse me. Look what it's doing right now with the equity, market continuing to inflate, or continue higher. If that starts to sell, that only accelerates the Bitcoin rise higher. I really do think, I'm not like super excited about like Bitcoin itself, but I do think that we're taking advantage of what the market is giving us. And right now, all systems are go with Bitcoin. It's just, everything's a tailwind. That's like 3 teeth filled. Missed that one. I was commenting in the chat. Okay, so where we go? Oh, gold. Gotcha. Yeah, gold teeth. There you go. If you were a rapper, traditionally, gold teeth, right? All right, maybe that's more common outside of the rap scene nowadays. I do not know. All right, let's go back to our S&P 500 chart. Again, things are going high. We're looking at stimulus. We're looking at an infrastructure bill following after that, which, if anything, this winter storm has probably highlighted some deficiencies in infrastructure. So far so good at Team Anchorstar's house, but there are some certain areas of Austin that are getting pummeled, and that will highlight the need for infrastructure upgrades, that sort of thing. And again, taxes will be the headwind that we'll see eventually. When you zoom in on the 5-day chart, you can see the gap up this morning. Futures are in the green, so all systems go as far as a nice green day in the market. Here's we're set up for the excuse me, the day trading. We have Block, which again is a Bitcoin derivative. That's a blockchain ETF, which is gapping up. S-Wave is a short wave heart, using shortwave something or other to get into your heart and knock away calcium. It seems kind of awesome. It is lowly traded. Low volume. I should use better English this morning. But you can see that the volume is an issue, but that is an interesting play long. And then GILT, again, that satellite company, missed earnings. You can see it down here. It shows in the green, so it beat earnings, but it did lose money still. Selling off kind of hard. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at where we are in the world as far as the markets. All right, everything in the green. It was up 200 points earlier, so it's actually trending down from where it was when I first looked at it this morning. Let's check out Asia. Everything is in the green, pretty heavy into the green in Asia, up over 1%, nearly 2% across the board. Europe slightly in the red today. U.S. numbers from Friday were pretty good. Bonds, U.S. 10-year continues to increase. Oil's been kind of a story. Got over $60 this weekend. And again, the oil names are going higher today. Not that you should invest in them, but if you wanted to get in and trade BP, I have BP and what? There's another one here cycling through the chat. Actually, I only put BP in there, but RDS, Rio Tinto, those are they're all traveling the same today because of the big storm we had. All right, gold and silver selling off a little bit, and then crypto, Bitcoin did touch 50,000, so it's only up a percent here. But again, major firms flock to crypto. If they start putting this stuff on their balance sheets, they're going to basically sop up the supply, and the price goes higher. Right? That's just supply and demand math. All right, there's your headline of 50 Bitcoin tops 50K. Kind of crazy. All right, we talked about Palantir selling off, crazy hair. After they did lose money, but they did beat expectations. So kind of surprised it's selling off. We were not going to short it here. If you don't have a lot of Palantir, you might buy some more into this dip. Consider. I don't think Palantir is over. I think they're data's the new oil. They're going to be around forever kind of thing. The only reason to be bearish is there's no reason to be bearish. That's kind of funny. Backwards Wall Street math. All right. More Bitcoin. CVS crushed earnings, as you would expect. In a pandemic, people don't want to go to big stores. They go to smaller stores, pay the markup. Plus, it's a pharmacy. Okay, there you go. Wall Street's fear gauge breaks below 20, a key level that may trigger more buying. So again, that's what we're talking about today is the VIX. Let's see where the VIX was on Friday. 21, I think it did drop below 20 already this morning. We're going to look at the VXX, which is what you see right here. So you can't trade the VIX. And again, that's just the VIX is a volatility measure. It measures all the options that are out there that are long and short. And when volatility tends to drop, that means the market's going higher. Actually, I think that's converse. So, you have chicken and egg argument. I think the market going higher drops the volatility. Personally, that's my opinion. But what you can see in the trading vehicle, which is the VXX, is this VIX short-term futures ETN. Now, due to stuff that I probably can't sufficiently understand, these are not long-term holds. Okay, they are trading vehicles. And because there's some stuff that goes on inside of them that you don't want to hold them forever because you're guaranteed to lose money. whatever. Now that I've said that, this is a swing trade. So what we're looking at here is the volatility drop below 16. It was actually Predator that led to brought this to my attention. I started looking at it pretty hard Friday afternoon, and then made some moves in several portfolios, including a pretty large move in my own. This is one of these things that, again, you're betting. It's bouncing along the 16 here, and you could draw the upper line wherever you want. I'm more of a, so here's where I am personally as a money manager, is I don't have a lot of stuff I want to buy, but I do have 2 big direct listings coming up that I need to have cash for. So I'm basically taking this as a swing trade, meaning I'm putting extra cash into the VXX right now. Maybe if it goes higher, it's going to go a decent move higher. If it continues to low, I'm going to drop. I'm going to lose a little bit of money, but that's okay, because I want, the potential there is for it to go higher, and I don't know when these stupid direct listings are going to take place. So basically, you're like, how long are you going to hold this trade? I'm like, well, I'm going to hold it till it either hits 20. For most folks, and I will start taking, I won't touch it till it hits 20. If it doesn't hit 20, then I'm not, I don't care. I want it to hit 20. If it hits 20, I'm gonna start selling either out of all of it completely, or start scaling out of it like you do when you have nice gains. So 16 to 20, that's a 25% gain. So that's how I'm gonna play that. I may keep selling it or not. Or the Roblox IPO is, say it gets announced that it's going to be Friday. Well, I'm just taking all that money back out of the VXX and putting it into the IPO. So it's almost a holding pattern opportunity now, to where you may lose, but you also may make some money. And I like the way it's set up. If those direct listings get kicked, again, they've been sliding. So if they get kicked, then again, we hold the VXX a little bit longer. So yeah, that's the overall plan there. When you look at where it's been real quick, we're going to go to Schwab just to show you how low can it go, because that's an important question. So upper left-hand pane here, that's the VXX. This, again, at the far left was September of 2019. This is the beginning of 2020. So you were down at the 13 level as far as the VXX. It bounced and then went back to 13. And then, of course, global pandemic shot it up to what, 70, 80 maybe. Now I don't expect that to happen, but again, that's what a market that, remember, that market just drove higher and higher and higher, and then you have this big correction. So that's how big it can move up when it moves up, and then again it sold off after that. So I just want to show that to you. All right, let's go back over to TD Ameritrade, get set up for our day trading. We do have 50 seconds prior to the open. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the On Time On Target play of the day. You have 4 screens in front of you. On the far left, we have the SPY on a 1-minute chart. Even though we're gapping up, the recent couple hours of motion is to the downside there. So just take note of that. We have 2 longs for you. Block is blockchain. It's riding the Bitcoin wave higher, because Bitcoin touched 50,000 this weekend. We have another long is low volatility. That's why you don't see much here. Low volume, called S-Wave. Which is right here. It's gapping up as well, so we have to wait for volume to come into that. And the one I like the most is this GILT, which is a satellite firm that is gapping down on basically missed earnings. So you see the earnings down here. They actually beat earnings, but they're not profitable. So we're looking at taking these guys short. High of the day has been established at 2070. Normally you would have a 20-cent stop here. I think a 30-cent stop would be a little better. So I'm looking to take this pretty quick once it establishes the high of the day. So right now I'm targeting a 2040. And I would like to see us march higher up to 2080 or almost even to 21. I don't really see it getting to 21, but basically I'm pretty okay with it. I'm gonna zoom in here. Pretty okay with it staying above there for right now. Okay, there it got up to 2080. That means we can move our entry point higher. $20.60 is what I'm looking at with it's going to be a 40-cent stop here. Again, waiting for it to reverse. If it gets much higher, we're going to have to bail on it because it's almost back to even on the day. With the S-wave chart there in the middle, that's a pretty big move down there on low volume, so not going to touch that. Block selling off a little bit. Market's kind of holding sideways. Again, being patient here on this thing. It did not touch 21. There's 21. All right. We're going to use 2080 as the entry point with a 2110 stop. It'll be 2115 now. So 35 cent. Okay, I think we're going to get this again, 2080 with a 2115 upper stop. I'm taking it right there. I know I'm off by a little bit. You knew it was going to hit though. 2115, again, we're short, so I'm drawing the 2115 up here. So 35 cent R, come on, draw. There we go. All right, this is what I would call a beautiful entry. That doesn't guarantee it's going to work, but I really like how far it backed up. And then I think we're going to know here in a second whether it worked or not, right? So 2080, 35, 20. Oh, Tuesday math is kind of like a Monday math. 2045 is the first R. 2010 is the second R. And 1975 is our exit point. Come on. Does not want me to draw. All right. 2010 and 1975 is the exit. What is up? All right. Draw it down there. There. Now it's making me look stupid. All right. 2010. Okay, so the Monday's going on here. All right. 1975 is our exit. Finally, for the love. Okay, so we're right there at the entry point. Kind of did expect it to stripe down, so did not get the move that I thought it would have initially, but I still like the trade. So again, entered at 2080 and a 35 cent stop is what we're looking at. All right, let's take a look at some other. Let's take a look at Palantir, see how that's reacting. Sold off a little bit, but I think this is probably the bottom of the day for Palantir. I can't really see everybody selling Palantir here. I think the weak hands will get shaken out of it, but you should be holding Palantir for the long term. All right, some other longs we took a look at. Let's see, CLSD, another medical firm. Not a lot of volume. Really hard to track that because of the lack of volume. And then BP is the other name we talked about. I think it's a big time loser in the long run, but it gapped up because of the winter storm that we're having. So, all right, trades hanging around the entry point. SPY's hanging out about even from where it started here on the day. Not really making a big move one way or the other. All right, make sure you have your stop in. Again, it's 2115. We'll be out, and looks like it just hit it. Yep, we are out. So trade did not work. Even though I love the entry. That is what you're looking for. It won't even let me draw my X. I'm going to go, that making me mad. All right, let's take a look around the real world, see what's going on. Clickstream's been in play lately. So up to 20 cents, it actually topped here, back down to 16 after closing at 10. So it was up at 100% earlier today. Kind of crazy. Let's see, Empower, Revive Therapeutics, Luckin Coffee up finally, right? House of Pain back above 6. I think that holds as well. Shrooms, marijuana. So the marijuana and psychedelic names are all in play this morning. PSTH is a SPAC that has announced a deal. I can't remember offhand what that was. But Pershing Square, this is Bill Ackman's SPAC. They announced this Friday, so got this nice big move on Friday, been selling off, but I can't remember the specifics of it. All right, see what's in the red today. Palantir and the downside, a CBD name, 10-cent holdings, REAX. All right. Not really too many names in the red here, and Palantir is really what I would consider the only big one. Okay. So go back to our trade. Oh, that's going to make me mad if we got barely touched out of it. So that's one of these. So if you truly had your stop set in, if it hits it, it's supposed to go from a stop order. Remember, it takes your order out and it replaces it with a market order. So when you see this, you have to check to make sure it actually executed. There's a chance that this tick right here was at 21.1.495, right? Because we only trade in pennies. So you and I, when we put our orders in, trade in pennies, basically 2 decimal points off the dollar. Now, if I want to trade to a third digit, which is, think of a penny stock that's at 2 cents, and I want to put an offer in for 0.022. I just need to make a phone call, and I have to place it manually with the trading team at either of the custodians there. So you can do it. You can't do it, right? Or you can do it with the phone call, but most people don't. So anyhow, there's a chance that you would still be left in this trade because my line is in the wrong place at 21.13, but we shall see. Anyhow, you would definitely want to check to make sure that you were in or out of it. All right, let's go to, since that's going to work, I'll take that like off the screen so we don't stare at it. Oops, wrong screen. All right, so what is a swing trade? Introduction to swing trading. Well, there's day trading where you're flat by the end of the day. And that's what we talk about during our market opens is, look, we're going to take a position, we're going to use leverage, 4-buy leverage for pattern day trader, and we are going to buy a bunch of stock and we're going to set a stop and more 2 stops, and we're either in or out of the trade, but we're flat by the end of the day. You know me, I like to be flat by about 5 to 10 minutes after the market opens, so I can move on with my life and do my day job. So, but there are times that you can hold a day trade overnight. Generally, you don't want to hold all of it, right? But if you take a trade for the specific event, like in our case with the VXX trade, I'm pulling VXX on another screen right here, see how that's going. So the thesis was buy below 16. If it drops to 15, buy more. If it drops to 14, buy more. If it drops to 13, go all in, because it hasn't been below 13 for several years or even a decade. So that's the theory. Now, what's the exit event? The exit event is what I talked about earlier. I don't know. For me personally, 20 is the first time I would start considering exiting. For people that are risk averse, or I'm just using it as a hedge, I'll probably take all of it off. If I have a ton of it, like 6 figures worth of VXX for somebody, I might cut it in half at 20 and let the rest ride. We shall see. But for the most part, that's a trigger event. Or like I said, I need the money for something else, or another opportunity presents itself in the market, which I don't even know of yet, to where now I need to reach into a portfolio and extract some cash to be able to use it towards that. So a swing trade, unlike where I'm buying, if I buy shares of Apple or Amazon for somebody, I'm pretty much holding those for a long time. With this, I can give up on this trade anytime I want and redeploy the cash somewhere else. So that's more of a swing trade. Other types of swing trades people will use, they'll buy into a stock before earnings. So you had earnings out this morning for CVS and Palantir. There's people that would buy in prior to the earnings, and then either way, they're out after the earnings. Obviously, they would buy, if they're buying it, they think the stock's going to go up after earnings. Either way, if right or wrong, they're out, right? But it took a day, more than just an intraday move. So that's why it's a swing trade and not a day trade. Now, where people get in trouble is you will turn a swing trade into an investment. Say you have your VIX at 16. We'll just talk a real example. So you're right here and you go there. I hit my trigger at 1595. I know you probably can't see that. This is mid-February. If you can see the black line going back and forth, it's like, oh, okay. I hit my trigger to start to execute my trade. And I go, boom, execute my trade. And then I'm like, I make a plan here on January 15th or whatever to exit most or all of it at 20 and take my 25% gain. 7 or 8 days later, boom, I hit 20. And guess what my brain does? Well, my brain's not going to do it. Guess what your brain would do? Oh, I just made 25%. I can make more, right? And you start thinking, oh, well, it's going to go to 25 or 30 or whatever. And you start holding this thing well past the point of your original game plan. You've turned it into an investment, which is just stupid. So don't turn your trades into investments, and also don't turn your investments into trades. The other side of that is if you would buy a share of, PLTR, we'll pull up PLTR. If you buy a share here at 1040, at 10 on direct listing day, and it goes to 15, and you bought this because you believe data is the new oil, and you're like,
welcome
man, I made 50
to the new tomorrow, where it's not enough to do it alone, and working together means going.
All right. So where you can turn an investment into a trade is like Steve's been talking about Palantir forever. We're in, we made 50% in 45 days, and you go, good enough, I'm out. Really, you're out. I mean, so you traded your investment away, right? And you have cash. You made 50%. Good for you. Go tell all your friends. But where are you when this thing's up in here? Even though it's getting shellacked lately, you still, if you got in here, you don't really care, right? These are long-term investments. It's going up here. You don't really care how it gets there. So anyhow, that's where you can get lost in that. Don't turn your trades into investments. So where we are in VXX for a swing trade is all until it gets above 20 or until I need the cash for something else. So, all right, that's all I've got for today. Looks like we made it all the way through. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for the comments in the chat. That was pretty fun this morning. With that, we'll catch you guys next time.